The updated AFC Playoff Picture is presented by Manscaped. You can get the best men's grooming products on the market when you head over to manscaped.com/chat. You'll get 20% off and free shipping when you use that URL and promo code chat at checkout. Let's break down the AFC Playoff Picture, which is incredibly muddled at the current moment. The Patriots. Yes, the Patriots proving that time is a flat circle. They're the number 1 seed at 9-4. The Titans, Ravens, and Chiefs are all 8-4, the 2 through 4 seeds. There are then 3 7-5 teams in the Chargers, Bengals, and the Buffalo Bills. Then teams like the Steelers, the Colts, and even the 500 Raiders, Browns, and Broncos are all lurking. Now, there are no clinching scenarios this week for the AFC, although it's getting pretty close for teams like, because it is so muddled and so many teams still alive in the playoff picture, well, can't quite clinch yet, and this will be a fascinating race down the stretch. Now, if you want more playoff picture breakdowns for the AFC, the NFC, and everything around the playoffs, like the video. The numbers are doing pretty good audience-wise, but it's always good to show the bosses that when we ask you guys to like the video, to indicate you want more of it, that you like the video. So help me out, help us out, and like today's video. Let's go team by team here at the top. The New England Patriots, as I mentioned, no clinching scenarios, but from a percentage standpoint, you're looking at 99% chance of making the playoffs. A historic collapse would be needed for the Patriots, who are on fire right now, the hottest team in the NFL to not make the postseason. I have been incredibly impressed so far this year by New England, what they've done on this immense winning streak. Now, New England gets their bye, and I don't really know how much we learned about them against the Buffalo Bills, given this was a game in which, they didn't have to do a whole lot. They were able to just kind of ho-hum their way along, a 14-10 win in which Mac Jones threw, I kid you guys not, 3 passes in a winning effort, which is kind of crazy from that perspective. Overall, impressed by New England. And I'll say this too. I was wrong. I thought the Patriots were going to be an around 500 team. That's what they were to begin the year. And then they flipped the switch. The defense is playing lights out. The ground game's on fire. And Mac Jones has been incredibly reliable and efficient as the best rookie quarterback this year, regardless of how they ended up faring against the Buffalo Bills in terms of he fared with only 3 passes. So are the Patriots a Super Bowl threat? Type in Y for yes or N for no. Are they a real threat to win the Super Bowl this year? I'm going to make this question the pinned comments on today's video, meaning if the ad break comes on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know what you think. Number 2 seed, the Tennessee Titans. Now, again, this is part of a muddled group of 8-4 teams. Tennessee's coming off their bye at a pretty good time, and unlike a lot of the rest of the AFC, frankly put, folks, the Titans' schedule isn't as daunting as some of the other teams in the mix. They've got Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Miami, and Houston. They should win at least 2 or 3 of those games. That's a lot easier of a stretch than what a lot of the other AFC squads are set to face this year. But make no mistake, Tennessee, that offense, they've got to get going again. Now, injuries are a massive part of that, make no mistake, but it's time for Tennessee to kind of get back on track, right the ship. They looked awesome when the team was healthy. They're not right now, and they might get healthy just in time for the playoffs. Who do you think is the best team in the AFC? Is it New England, Tennessee, or a team we haven't really gone fully in depth on quite at this point? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. The Ravens, speaking of injuries, boy, do they continue to mount. Now Marlon Humphrey is out for the year, adding to a long list of key starters and or contributors who are not going to be able to contribute for Baltimore down the stretch this year. They should have beaten the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had that game, and they let it slip away. 17 fourth-quarter points allowed by the Ravens against the Steelers, and it led to Pittsburgh getting a fairly massive win to keep their playoff hopes alive. Big Ben was much better down the stretch. Deontay Johnson, the Ravens had simply no answer for him whatsoever. We'll spend some more time on the Steelers later, but it is the Ravens who still have a rather narrow lead in a very competitive AFC North right now. They play the Browns again. It's actually technically back-to-back Browns-Ravens games for Cleveland because Cleveland was on bye last week. We'll see what the Ravens are able to do. Injuries a factor. I don't know just how much of a run they'll be able to make because of all those injury problems. As mentioned, today's show is powered by Manscaped. 20% off and free shipping on all of their incredible men's grooming products, from the Lawnmower 4.0 to the Performance Package to other goodies like the shears, the Weed Whacker, etc. Head over to manscaped.com/chat. That link takes you right to the Manscaped site, and you can use promo code chat at checkout to give you 20% off and free shipping on whatever you're searching for this holiday season. You know, they say mistletoe is still a thing, but it's really not at this point because it's 2021. But if you want to have some success after you go under the mistletoe, you know, use Manscaped. 20% off and free shipping. Manscaped.com/chat. Promo code chat. Jeremy, please do not go seductively in my ear. That's super weird. Manscaped.com/chat. That link will be in the comment section and in the description. The Chiefs, the number 4 seed. I made a joke on Twitter today that the Cowboys and Chiefs are two supposed to be high-powered offenses currently being carried by their defenses. The Chiefs' defense, after a really rough start to the year, has played awesome as of late. Their offense is still not quite right. If I had told you that Patrick Mahomes went 15 of 29 for 184 against Denver, you would have gone, oh my God, they lost. But they didn't, in part because Teddy Bridgewater threw 2 interceptions and the Broncos' offense was pretty bad, and they had some nice long sustained drives that got them 0 points in the end. The defense is playing awesome for KC. If they can get right, if the offense can figure it out, they are going to be a very dangerous team once again come playoff time. I don't really think anyone wants to play the Chiefs in the postseason. So those were your division leaders. Now let's look at the wild card 3 teams for now. The Chargers, Bengals, and the Bills. All of them are 7-5, which is just kind of crazy to have this tightly contested race as we enter Week 14 of the NFL season. First up, the team heading in the right direction, the Chargers. A big win over the Cincinnati Bengals. The Chargers won that one 41-22. It was a Chargers start great, collapse, and then get going to end the game once again. They are still, I believe, one if not the most inconsistent team in the NFL, but they've got the Giants this week. They should be able to win that game, and assuming they do win that matchup, that puts them at 8-5 and puts them in a really good spot to make a run and make some noise in the playoffs with Justin Herbert. Now, their schedule not that easy down the stretch. They've got a game against each AFC West team as well, but that's pretty much everybody in the AFC outside of really the Tennessee Titans. The schedule for all these wild card contenders is not easy. You want to make the playoffs, you got to earn it. The Bengals, meanwhile, part of that tough schedule slate, they could have really used that game against the Chargers. They fall to 7-5. They've got a desperate Niners team coming to town in Week 14 as well. The Bengals kind of got to figure out their offense because Joe Burrow threw for 300 yards, also 2 interceptions. Jamar Chase has been kind of sort of taken away as of late, although T. Higgins has stepped up in his absence. That loss for the Bengals has massive playoff seeding or tiebreaker implications. The Chargers won the head-to-head. That is a big deal. With the AFC North of the Ravens, Browns, and Steelers also all in the mix, these playoff spots for the AFC are going to go down to the absolute wire. Now, we are only doing the AFC playoff picture today because Sunday night we did the NFC playoff picture because the primetime games, funnily enough, were both AFC matchups. So if you're looking for the NFC playoff picture, the thumbnail looks like this. It's on the channel. I will also put a link to that video in both the comment section and in the description. The 7-seeded Buffalo Bills, as they have hit a bit of a rough patch, as this team that began the year 4-1, and then we were like, oh, our best team in the NFL. They haven't played great. They have not yet, since that 4-1 start, had a single back-to-back win. It's been loss, win, loss, win, loss. Now, the Bills have struggled. Bucks, Panthers, Patriots, Falcons, Jets. That's an easy slate down the stretch. They should be able to win at least 3 of those games, if not 4 or more. The home game against the Patriots was a pretty big miss from that end. Although, to be fair, how much can you really take away from that game when it's like 30-mile-per-hour winds and it's just kind of a weird game in which the Patriots didn't even try to throw the football? Then again, Buffalo, you knew what they were doing. They were going to run it down your throats, and they could not stop them really at all. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs had a big drop too. He had some big misses down the stretch. The Bills are not quite right yet. They got to find a way to get right to make that legitimate playoff run. But I do think their schedule sets them up a little bit better than even, say, the Bengals right now. Now for the other teams in the mix. First off, the Texans are the only team eliminated officially. The Jags are on the verge of being eliminated, so too are the Jets. The Dolphins are kind of hanging around, but I don't really think they're a true threat at this point. I don't buy Miami. Denver, the Browns, the Raiders, the Colts, and Steelers, all those teams are within a game of that number 7 seed in the wild card. So this division right now, the AFC, is going 11 deep of the 7 spots. That's pretty damn unusual entering Week 14. Now, of the teams looking on the outside looking in at the current moment, which team do you think is most likely to make it into the playoffs? It could be the Raiders, the Broncos, the Colts, the Steelers. Maybe you're a Dolphins truther. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Let's look at the Steelers now and how their schedule shapes up down the stretch. At Minnesota, Thursday Night Football. Must-win game. Because the rest of the way, oh boy, Titans at the Chiefs versus the Browns at the Ravens. Now, maybe Pittsburgh gets lucky and the Ravens aren't playing for anything come Week 18, but that is a chance they play 4 playoff teams, or at least 4 playoff contenders down the stretch to end the season. That is a potential issue for Pittsburgh. I'm not sure I buy them. Then again, I did not think they would beat the Baltimore Ravens, and look at what they ended up doing. All right, the Colts schedule. They are on bye in Week 14. Then it's Patriots, Cardinals, 2 Saturday games, 1 on Christmas, Raiders, and Jags. We will know if the Colts are contenders by the time they get through that Week 17 game. That Week 18 game is a game they're going to win against a bad Jags team that may or may not have fired Urban Meyer, but by that point, the Raiders game could very well be a playoff elimination matchup in the sense that the loser is out. The winner stays alive for maybe 1 more game. It's going to be an interesting matchup here. Now, the Raiders, their schedule is also brutal down the stretch. Chiefs, Browns, Broncos, Colts, and the Chargers. Again, the AFC is all going to play each other, and it'll all sort itself out. But if you want to make the postseason, you've got to find a way to earn it. And the Raiders, they got right, I thought, against the Dallas Cowboys, and then they kind of did not get right whatsoever against Washington. And now the schedule is just a gauntlet down the stretch. 3 games, by the way, on the road. Do I trust the Raiders to beat the Chiefs? Not really. Denver, Browns, Colts, maybe. But then again, the Raiders just lost to Washington in a game that I thought was pretty poorly game planned and coached by Las Vegas. Now, Washington ended up being a playoff team. I get that. That was a game the Raiders really needed to have. They are in a very difficult AFC West. I think Denver and Las Vegas right now are battling for that 3 and 4 spot. And I think the 3 seed in the AFC West might get in. So who is more likely to make the playoffs? Type in B for the Broncos or type in R for the Raiders. Get those votes in for me in the comments section. The Browns schedule then to wrap up the season. A lot of primetime games, funnily enough. And this is a just brutal stretch as well. Ravens, Raiders, Packers, Steelers, Bengals. You don't probably have to win out if you're Cleveland since you are 6-6, and I think 10 wins is going to put you right in the middle there for that playoff spot. But going 5-0, I don't see it. Shoot, I would not be that stunned if the Browns won like 1 of these games. So the AFC playoff picture, folks, is by no means settled. no clinching scenarios, and a wild card race that I think is going to be absolutely bonkers, and we'll go all the way down to the final week of the NFL season.